I am welcome to my channel, The Frequency of Truth. You're through to Annette Beckham of Annette Beckham Official. I am an author and a frequency translator with my new and latest book, which I'm so pleased about, called The Frequency of Truth. But today we're going to be looking at a little bit of knowledge that is slightly more ancient. So this is a 3-part series. It may expand as time goes on, but for now, we're looking at when you become the spell, indirect intention, and the hidden mechanism of harm. Because I don't know about you, but over many years, yeah, I think it's happened to all of us in one way, shape, or form. And so we're going to have a look to see how that kind of connects with the quantum field, how that connects with other energy work, but most importantly, to you, what you can do. And again, this is all exploring. This is all putting a different lens on things, shall we say. So, as I said, my name's Annette Beckham. I'm a frequency translator and author. I've been sort of working with energies and that my whole life, being a sensitive, if you like. And I started asking many questions a long time ago, hence my book, The Frequency of Truth, which is the past, say, 8 years of my life, diving much deeper and sometimes asking some of the difficult questions. We're at the same time having lots of teachers, mentors, and so on and so forth throughout my life too. So if you're new here, thank you very much for tuning in and for being here today. And I really do hope for those new and those who've known my work previously, that it might just plant a seed. It might just open up curiosity. You may even have further questions on the back of this. And so to those who have known me, my work on my channel for some time now, thank you so much for your help, your love, and your support. I really do appreciate every single one. So please do excuse me, my throat is a little bit hoarse at the moment, as they say, so it's got a slight deepness to it, but I'm not complaining. I'm certainly not complaining. So please do like, share, and subscribe. With all of these series and recordings, they do start off as blogs. So a lot of it is through my own writing. So if you'd like to read the full blog, it is on my Substack, which the link is underneath. If you'd like to find out more about my work, my book, my blogs, the one-to-one work, group work, etc., that is on alarianresonance.com. And again, if you'd like to dive a little bit deeper into any of these subjects, my book, The Frequency of Truth, is now available on Amazon. Again, link in the bio. It's The Frequency of Truth, or if you go and have a look under my name, it should pop up as well on co.uk, on .com. It should be on all the Amazons, as it were. So this might be a little bit of a longer recording than some of the previous ones, but please do feel free to go and check out some of those as well, because as much as we do spells for ourselves, and this is where, as I said, I'm linking in with the ancients, linking in with pagans, Wiccans, because one of the things that I've always found interesting is that for many years, you were either one or the other. You were either very earthbound, i.e. working with the earth, respecting the earth, i.e. Wiccan, pagan, and so on. Or you were the stargazer, you were the quantum, you were the science, you were the working with off-worlders. But isn't it all the same? And this is what we go into just now. This is what we kind of start linking up both of them together. And that's where you're getting probably about chapter 8 or 9 in the book as well, where we start linking up the unified field with such things as trees and beacon trees. Because I could never really understand why you had to be one or the other. Isn't it all the same? So here's the thing, excuse me. So here's the thing, something is happening in the spiritual communities. As I was saying, pagans, Wiccan practices, energy work, healing practices, that I really don't think, and again, happy to be corrected, but through all the years that I've been doing this, I don't really feel that people necessarily talk about. So you know what? Let's talk about it. Not because it's a secret. It's not. It really, really isn't. And a lot of this does come through my own learnings and my own experience. Because as I said, it's not a secret. And maybe more because most people don't know it exists. And honestly, it took me a very, very long time to see it. So we're really talking about indirect intention. Sounds a bit complicated, doesn't it? It's not. It's not once you've unpacked it. So let's unpack it. Because it's one of those concepts that sounds simple, but it really does have some depth to it. And again, this isn't saying I'm absolutely right, this absolutely happens. That's not the space I come from. As I said, this is exploring through a different lens. So most of us understand that someone can send negative energy, send curses, harmful energy towards another person. Yeah, absolutely. That's really not new information. What's discussed far less is what happens when the person who carries out the physical act of anchoring that harm is, I kind of feel like I want a drum roll right now. So yeah, what happens when the person who is carrying out the physical act of anchoring that harm is you? Is you. Not the sender, not some shadowy figure working in the background, but you. You trusting someone you believed had more knowledge, more discernment, more spiritual authority than you. You. Following the guidance in good faith. You. Performing the physical act of placing something in your home or outside it, saying particular words, performing a particular ritual, believing it was for your own protection, abundance, well-being, and so on. Any of this sounding familiar? Anyone ever experienced something like this? I know I have. I'll be the first one to admit it. And in the act of trust, in the physical carrying out of instructions, you have, from a frequency perspective, given your permission, haven't you? Now there's a question. You could say yes, you could say no, you could say, oh, let me have a think about that. Or, oh, never thought about it that way. Or, no, you're absolutely definitely wrong in it. I'm just asking the question. Because you see, in that act of trust, in the physical carrying out those instructions, you have, from a frequency perspective, given your permission because you were the one who did it. Your energy is in it. Your hands placed it. Your voice spoke it. Yours. You. I kind of want to turn this little bit into a poem almost. But why is this work? So why this works energetically? See, here's where it becomes really I've put here, this is where it becomes really important to understand. Now, I actually don't necessarily agree with that sentence that I've written there, because I think it's really important to unpick, to maybe start to understand, but most importantly, to bring your awareness to. Because energy frequency doesn't distinguish between good and bad intentions in anchoring. What it recognizes is who's doing the act. When you physically carry out a work, you are essentially tuning yourself to that frequency. You are saying at a vibrational level, this belongs to me. I claim it. This is mine. Aren't you? Again, I'm not asking to challenge. Well, I suppose I am asking to challenge in a way, to maybe think of it differently, think outside the box. So even if you thought you were claiming protection, even if you thought you were inviting abundance, if what was already set by someone else before you ever got involved was low vibrational, harmful, intentionally placed to restrict or even harm you, then your act of trust became the mechanism that cemented that in. Sorry, there was a lot of words there, wasn't there? But I really hope that made sense. And I'm not saying this out of fear mongering. I'm not saying this out of, fear mainly, not in the slightest. That's never my intention. Maybe it is just to bring awareness to practices and energies and frequencies that had already been tuned into, established. So if what was already set by someone else before you ever got involved was low vibrational, harmful, or intentionally placed to restrict you, then the act of trust became the mechanism that cemented that in. I know it did for me. Not anymore. You became the instrument. You became part of that spell, if you like. See, but you know what? There's a way around it. There's a way around it. But let's just dive into another bit for a second. So the mechanism working through a proxy, right? So in folk magic and traditions, this is known. Yeah, this is known. These practices are known. They have been sent down through generations, through the ancients. But they're not really ever spoken about. Not openly, I don't think. It's called working through proxy, getting the target to do the work themselves. Lazy asses. So they basically do a part of it. They hand the rest over to you, and there you go. You do the rest. You cement it in. Lovely. Wonderful people you're working with there, eh? So why do you think this might be effective? Why do you think it might be effective? Again, if you do feel like answering any of these questions, please do pop them in the comments, because I would genuinely be really interested to hear your thoughts on these. Because again, it's all about exploring. It's all about finding out. And this is one of the reasons I particularly have put questions in here, because again, it's planting that seed. It's kind of getting the old brain working. It's looking at things through a different lens. Might not be the right lens. You might look through it and go, no, I don't like that. And that's okay. Because it bypasses your natural energetic resistance. Most of us have some level of protection, an instinctive guard, if you like. But when we choose to act, when we're willingly, God, that was difficult to say. When we are willingly, I nearly said something else there. Sorry. Oh, it's just my sense of humour. Sorry. When we are willingly carrying something out, that guard doesn't fire up, does it? Because we've already put our trust, we've already put our faith, we've already put that loving energy towards that person. So there is no invasion. It's almost as though you've opened the door, so to speak, giving it a visual. It also creates a layer of what I'd call uninformed consent. And now you might be going, yeah, Annette, but there's a thing called free will. Your free will, yeah, absolutely, 110%. Because you have trusted that person. And that person's gone, I'm going to use this. Hence, using the term uninformed consent for this purpose. Because I think language is absolutely fascinating. And especially how language has changed over the times and the years and the months. Especially like when it was back in the, I don't know, back in the 80s and 90s when you were first talking about energy and healing. But I'm going to go off on a tangent and I'll come back to that later. But the work was technically done by you. With your own energy, with your own hands, with your own voice. The sender can step back entirely, lazy asses. Their fingerprints, energetically speaking, are minimal. Again, karma's another bitch, isn't it, really? But again, we can do another blog on that one. I'm jotting these down, by the way. So this is this is not a new dark art. It's not. It's been around for millennia. It exists across multiple traditions, multiple countries, and is far more common than a lot of people. I've put here, a lot of people in the spiritual communities realise, but I think that's wherever. I don't think it's necessarily directed at the spiritual communities. Because difficult truth about trust. And here's what makes this so painful when we encounter it. And I'm sure you guys have too in different ways. It usually involves someone you trust. A reader, a practitioner, a teacher, sometimes a friend, sometimes a family member, sometimes an extended family member, someone who seemed to know more than you, who spoke with confidence, who spoke with authority, who presented the instructions as something that was to benefit you. This will be really good for you because it will do X, Y, and Z. Keep on saying these words because it will do X, Y, and Z. They knew more than you. As I said, they spoke with authority. But was something kind of going, not sure about this? No, because you trusted. And you know what? There's no judgment here. There's no blame here. 110% no. I said, I'm here. If you could see me, I'm putting my hand up. Had it happen too. And that's what made me think. That's what made me ask the question. That's what made me dig deeper. Because that's the nuance and the uncomfortable truth to be held carefully. Because we do want to trust those people. We see the light in everybody. So signs this may have happened. May, and I do stress the word may have happened. Okay? Maybe just a few things to look out for. You might want to reflect on whether indirect intention has been at work in your life, maybe. So if someone gave you specific instructions to place, bury, or position particular objects in and around your home, you were guided to a specific word, prayers, or affirmations by somebody else, particularly ones you didn't fully understand or didn't fully align with you. I say, yeah, I'll say that. But as you were saying it, you might have got a bit of a knot in your tummy. Figurative speaking. Shortly after following that guidance, things in your life might have changed and not necessarily for the better. I've put on here, life began to feel stuck, heavy, or restricted. Again, it might not have been straight away. Yeah, it might not have been straight away. It's like when we, if you have a look at another video called Quantum Prayer, it's not necessarily it's going to happen like that. Yeah? Just plug in that other video. Go and have a look. It's how we can use prayer and energy for ourselves. But going back to indirect intention. So, movement in finances, relationships, opportunities become difficult in ways that felt disproportionate. Didn't quite feel right. Bigger things happened when they weren't expected. The person who guided you later turned out to be working with lower vibrational energy, and their true nature revealed itself over time. This could be 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 2 decades. Doesn't matter. You might have thought in the beginning, not sure about them, and then that authority, that guidance, that heart you could see, and you're like, yeah, great, fantastic. But there's still something deep in there that's going, not too sure. None of these alone are definitive, but together they're worth examining a little bit. And that doesn't mean you have to go through your home going, oh, who gave me this? Who gave me that? Or where did I get that affirmation from? Is that through me? Was that through somebody not wanting me to do something? Again, you don't have to do anything now, but again, it's just asking that question, bringing that awareness. So what can you do about it? And now I'm not going to go through absolutely every single thing that you can. Remember, this is a snapshot. So the first and most important thing is it can be neutralized and revoked. Yeah? No problem. You did not knowingly agree to what was anchored through you. And I truly believe that matters. Sorry, I can't even talk now. Your authority over your own energy, your own home, your own field, that was actually never taken away. Even if it felt like it. But it might not have even felt like it, because actually that's become the normal. Air quotes. Reclaiming it is not complicated, but it does require intention, clarity, and action. Physical acts that were used to anchor something can be reversed physically. Energetically workings can be revoked with spoken authority. The details of how the practical steps are maybe for another conversation. But my most important thing I wanted to get across is that it's not all doom and gloom. It's really not. As I said, our ancestors know this, the ancients knew this. And where you can maybe go down the road of, oh, but there's no evil and negative around anymore, that's not where we're heading. There might be things that might have been put in place some time back. So I really hope that this has brought the awareness, because, as I said, the most important thing to know right now is that the door you didn't know you opened can be closed by you. Because guess what? That's your door. No one else's. Yours. Whether you bring in your own guides or interdimensional beings to help you, your angels, whether there are other spells, other affirmations, other words. It can be done. So coming up in part 2 of this series, we go deeper into the connection between the quantum energy and the mechanics of intention, frequency, and directed workings. Because I was going to cover this off before, because here's the thing. Witchcraft, paganism, Wiccans, quantum physics. Guess what? They're describing the same reality. Woo-hoo! Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. See, because I was a pagan for so long, but then when I was referring to the skies and the cosmos and interdimensional beings, it was like, no, can't do that. No, no, no. This is Earth. You focus on the Earth. And absolutely, 100%, I get it. But let's look through the lens of witchcraft and quantum physics. And then I'm just going to get far too excited. So there we go. Because you know what? Sometimes all they're doing is using different language. Let's go explore that in part 2. Because to me, once you have that understanding, oh, it changes. It changes everything. It's exciting. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, for being here, for being part of this. And I hope that it's inspired, that it's planted a seed, that you have more questions, because, you know, staying curious is wonderful and it's exciting. Because when we talk about disclosure, it's not just about our interdimensional family and friends. It's about what this multidimensional human is actually doing and capable of. But in this series, we're going to link into the ancients, because they've been doing it all along. They've just been calling it something different. They've just been using different language. So let's go explore in part 2. And if you have like this, or you do want to get in contact, please do leave messages below. Alarian Resonance is my website. The Frequency of Truth is available on Amazon. And please do like, share, and subscribe. I would absolutely adore that. But most importantly, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for staying curious. And from my heart to yours. And I look forward to I look forward to the next one already. Okay, bye bye.